Now, as things that might reach big biblical proportions, the first case of Ebola has been diagnosed in Dallas, Texas.
Grim.
Now, the point of concern for many folks is that this guy was symptomatic when he walked in over a week before he was diagnosed. So he's been wandering around for a week with Ebola in Dallas, Texas. So who did he sneeze on? Who did he share food or drink with? How many times did he forget to wash his hands? Or how many times did he not wash his hands and touch all the doorknobs?
You just grossed my wife out.
Who did he hit up on Cuddler?
Wow, that's nice
Grindr.
thoughts.
Maybe
These
he's
are
gay. I don't know. Maybe he's
very
Grindr.
comforting.
Now, not to be an alarmist, but Brian, what? And I think a lot of other people are going to be, thinking about this. Though, like, it is a raging pandemic right now over in West Africa. So what if we wake up and 10,000 people in the Dallas metro area have been diagnosed with Ebola? If it's in Dallas, it's going to be in Salt Lake City. Right. If it's in Salt Lake City, it's going to be Billings, connecting flight.
You're being an alarmist.
You're right. I am being an alarmist, but that's still a serious question. I mean, this could be a pandemic. Yeah. Do we run for the hills?
Well, we don't have a pandemic yet. The CDC is trying to keep the public calm. They're telling us that Ebola is not spread like the cold or the flu, but rather more like AIDS. While it is certainly commendable to try to maintain public calm, I think that some skepticism is warranted about that declaration.
Because I think in the CDC's description, bodily fluids.
Yeah. That includes coughing and sneezing.
Ears, mouth.
Yeah, I think that does. Well, the thing is, we know what AIDS epidemics in Africa look like. But the speed of Ebola's spread in Liberia and Sierra Leone and other places just doesn't look like that. It looks much more like a flu epidemic. Now, at any rate, the diagnosis of this terrible disease here on our shores is a cause for concern, and it's going to raise some important questions for us if there were to be an outbreak. Do we flee or do we stay? Look, we Americans we're not used to suffering. We've lived in a lap of luxury for a very long time. Possible threat of an Ebola outbreak on our shores is terrifying. Christians particularly should give serious thought about how we're going to react in this kind of an event. And I think our fathers and our mothers in the faith of times long since past have much to teach us. In the 2nd century, a pandemic ravaged the Roman Empire. The Roman elite took their families and their AR-15s and ran out into the mountains.
Maybe Greek fire.
Yeah, okay, maybe the Greek fire cannons or something. They all left, but it was the Christians that stayed. It was the Christians that stayed behind to nurse and care for the sick. Now, we live in different times, of course. Thanks to those ancient Christian efforts, we actually have a medical industry. And it seems to me that people working in that industry, nurses and doctors, need to seriously answer that question for themselves. Do you flee or do you stay? As Christians, of course, to live is Christ and to die is gain. Christians have very good reason to be fearless, and that makes them ideal to care for the sick and the poor. Smile, Jay. Shut up. Smile, Jay. We don't want our audience to... Remember, we have to have the relationship thing, as Henry said. We got to hate each other. No, fine. I hate you. I hate that. No screwing up. It's even written down. How do you screw it up when it's written down?